Everyone has felt anxiety. That flutter in your chest before a big presentation, the racing thoughts before a difficult conversation, the heightened alertness when you hear a strange noise at night. This is normal anxiety, and believe it or not, it's essential for survival. But for millions of people, anxiety stops being a helpful signal and becomes a prison. It shows up without warning, stays long after the threat is gone, and interferes with work, relationships, and daily life. Welcome to Health Sketchpad. I'm Dr. AB. Today, we're giving anxiety the full whiteboard treatment. We'll explore where normal worry ends and where anxiety disorder begins. We'll look at the brain science behind both, and most importantly, we'll help you understand where you might fall on the anxiety spectrum and what to do about it. To understand anxiety disorders, we first have to understand why anxiety exists at all. Anxiety didn't evolve to make you miserable, it evolved to keep you alive. Imagine you're a caveman walking through tall grass. Suddenly, you see a rustle and a growl. Your brain doesn't stop to analyze. Your amygdala, the brain's smoke alarm, instantly triggers a cascade of reactions. Your heart races to pump blood to your muscles. Your breathing quickens to bring in more oxygen. Your focus narrows to the threat, and you run. This is anxiety as a survival tool. It's fast, it's automatic, and it's saved your ancestors from becoming lunch. Today, the tigers are gone, but the alarm system remains. Your amygdala still fires when it detects a threat. Only now, the threats are public speaking, social judgment, financial pressure, or a difficult email. The problem isn't anxiety itself. The problem is when the alarm system activates too often, too intensely, or against things that aren't actually dangerous. Let's go inside the brain and meet the three key players in your anxiety response. First is the amygdala. Deep in the center of your brain, these small, almond-shaped clusters act as your smoke alarm. They scan everything you see, hear, and feel for potential threats. When they detect something dangerous, they sound the alarm before you're even consciously aware. Second is the prefrontal cortex, or PFC. This is the rational part of your brain, located right behind your forehead. It's your CEO, your brake pedal. It can look at the situation, say, "Actually, that rustling sound is just the wind," and tell the amygdala to stand down. Third is the HPA axis. When the amygdala sounds the alarm and the PFC can't override it, the HPA axis activates. This is your brain's broadcast system, releasing cortisol and other stress hormones throughout your body. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your muscles tense. You're ready to fight or flee. In a healthy brain, these three systems work in balance. The amygdala sounds the alarm when needed. The PFC applies the brakes when appropriate. The HPA axis activates briefly and then shuts off. In an anxious brain, this balance breaks. So what does normal, healthy anxiety look like? Normal anxiety is proportional to the situation. If you're about to give a speech, feeling nervous is appropriate. If you're walking alone at night, feeling alert is smart. The anxiety matches the threat. Normal anxiety is time-limited. Once the speech is over, the anxiety fades. Once you're home safe, your body calms down. The HPA axis shuts off. Cortisol levels return to baseline. Normal anxiety is context-specific. You might feel anxious about flying, but completely calm in social situations. You might dread job interviews, but love speaking in class. The anxiety doesn't spill over into every area of your life. Most importantly, normal anxiety doesn't stop you from doing what matters. You feel nervous before the speech, but you give it anyway. You're alert walking home, but you still go out with friends. The feeling is uncomfortable, but it doesn't control your choices. When anxiety crosses the line into disorder, these features change. So how do you know when normal worry has crossed into disorder? Look for these 4 danger signs. First, the anxiety is out of proportion to the actual threat. Your body reacts to checking email like you're being chased by a tiger. A minor social mistake feels like utter catastrophe. The alarm sounds at full volume for things that are objectively not dangerous. Second, the anxiety is chronic. It doesn't fade when the situation ends. You gave the speech 2 hours ago, but your heart is still racing. You submitted the report last week, but you're still ruminating. The HPA axis won't shut off. Third, the anxiety is pervasive. It's not just about flying or public speaking anymore. It spills over into everything. You worry about your health, your relationships, your finances, your performance, your future, all at once, all the time. Fourth, and this is the most important sign, the anxiety leads to avoidance and impairment. You stop doing things because you're afraid. You turn down the promotion because you can't handle the pressure. You avoid social gatherings because you dread the small talk. You stop living your life. If anxiety is causing you to avoid important activities, miss work or school, or suffer in your relationships, it has crossed the line from signal to disorder. Anxiety isn't one condition. It's a family of conditions, each with its own flavor. Generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD, is what most people think of as chronic anxiety. It's excessive, uncontrollable worry about multiple areas of life: health, money, family, work, the future. The worry is hard to control and lasts for months or years. Social anxiety disorder isn't just shyness. It's an intense fear of being judged, embarrassed, or rejected in social situations. People with social anxiety often avoid parties, meetings, speaking up in class, or even eating in front of others. Panic disorder involves sudden, unexpected panic attacks, waves of intense fear that come out of nowhere. Your heart pounds, you can't breathe, you feel like you're dying or losing control. Afterward, you live in fear of having another attack. Phobias are intense, irrational fears of specific objects or situations: heights, spiders, flying, needles, enclosed spaces. The fear is far out of proportion to the actual danger, but it feels completely real. Each of these is different, but they all share the same core problem. The brain's anxiety circuit is firing too often, too intensely, and at the wrong targets. Here's the cruel trick of anxiety. The things you do to feel better actually make the anxiety stronger over time. Let me show you the cycle. It starts with an anxious thought. What if something bad happens? That thought triggers physical sensations: racing heart, sweating, shortness of breath. Your body is preparing for danger. To escape those uncomfortable feelings, you avoid the situation. You don't give the speech. You don't go to the party. You don't get on the plane. And here's the trap. Avoidance gives you temporary relief. The anxiety drops. You feel better, for now. But next time, your brain remembers. We avoided that threat before, and we survived. That means avoidance works. So the anxiety returns, stronger than before. Your world gets smaller. The list of things you can safely do shrinks. Breaking the cycle means doing the opposite of what anxiety wants. It means facing the feared situation, gradually, safely, and learning that the catastrophe you predicted doesn't happen. This is called exposure, and it's one of the most powerful treatments for anxiety disorders. Here's the most important message of this entire video. Anxiety disorders are treatable. You can get better. Treatment isn't one size fits all, but there are proven tools that work. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is the gold standard psychotherapy for anxiety. It helps you identify the anxious thoughts, challenge the evidence, and gradually face the situations you've been avoiding. It's like exercise for your brain's anxiety circuit. Medication can also be highly effective. Certain antidepressants work on serotonin levels in the brain and can reduce the intensity of anxiety. They're not a cure, but they can turn down the volume so you can do the work in therapy. Lifestyle changes matter more than many people realize. Regular exercise metabolizes stress hormones. Good sleep regulates the amygdala. Mindfulness meditation strengthens the prefrontal cortex's ability to apply the brakes. And perhaps most importantly, you don't have to do this alone. Support groups, trusted friends, family members, and mental health professionals can walk alongside you. Recovery isn't about never feeling anxious again. It's about anxiety no longer controlling your life. It's about feeling nervous before the speech, but giving it anyway. It's about feeling the fear and doing it regardless. That's the difference between normal worry and disorder. And that's the destination worth fighting for. Let's bring this all together. Anxiety is not your enemy. It's a survival system that evolved to protect you. But like any system, it can malfunction. It can sound the alarm too loudly, too often, and at the wrong targets. The difference between normal worry and anxiety disorder comes down to 4 questions. Is the anxiety proportional to the situation? Is it time-limited, or does it linger for months? Does it spill over into multiple areas of your life? And most importantly, is it causing you to avoid the things that matter? If you answered yes to these questions, you're not broken. You're not weak. Your brain's alarm system is simply stuck in the on position. And there is help. Cognitive behavioral therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, and support from others can all help turn down the volume. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to navigate this alone. If this video resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe to the Health Sketchpad for more whiteboard explanations of how your brain works and how to work with it. And if you're struggling right now, take one small step today. Tell one person, make one appointment. Try one deep breath. Understanding anxiety is the first step. Acting on that understanding is the next. And recovery is possible. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.